Welcome to the fifth episode of our Python Fundamentals series. In this video, we will explore variables, types, and collections. We'll start with the concepts before jumping into a code-along in Jupyter. This program is brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team and Technovative AI. By the end of this video, you will understand variables and types, be able to use the 4 atomic Python types, choose the right collection for your data, and model real data using those concepts. Here is our roadmap. We'll start by hooking into the concept of data atoms, cover the basics of variables and types, code along with numbers, strings, and booleans, discuss collections, and finally build our own data records. Every large data set is built from simple atoms. Whether it's customer data or expenses, every cell boils down to basic building blocks. By the end of this video, you'll be modeling tables in pure Python. Looking at this customer table, we can see different types of data. Every cell has a type, and that type determines how Python interacts with the value, such as a name string, an age integer, revenue as a float, or an active Boolean flag. Let's dive into part 1, understanding variables and types. We'll cover the fundamental concepts before we start writing code. Think of a variable as a labeled box. The label is the name you choose, and the box holds the value. Python is dynamically typed, meaning it figures out the type of the value at runtime. A type tells Python which operations are legal. You can add 2 numbers together, but trying to add a number and a string will result in an error because the operation doesn't make logical sense. Remember, errors are just feedback. A type error is simply Python telling you that something doesn't add up. Reading these messages is a key skill in your coding journey. Now for part 2, the 4 atomic types. It is time to open your notebook and get hands-on with some code. In Python, integers represent whole numbers, like counts or IDs, while floats represent decimal numbers, used for measurements or rates. Using descriptive names for these variables makes your code much more readable. Strings represent text and must be wrapped in quotes. You can join them using the plus sign, an operation called concatenation. Keep in mind that a number inside quotes is treated as a string, not a numeric value. Booleans are the simplest type, consisting only of true or false. These are essential for comparisons and controlling the flow of your program, acting like a switch in your data logic. Whenever you are uncertain about the type of a value, use the built-in type function. It's like a flashlight that helps you inspect data and avoid confusion while coding. Finally, let's intentionally break things to learn from it. If you try to add an integer to a string, Python will return a type error. By reading the message, you can see exactly which operands caused the conflict. Welcome to part 3. Now that we understand individual values, let's explore how to group multiple values together using Python's 4 main collections. Think of this as a single decision rule. When deciding which tool to use for grouping, always ask yourself, what exactly does this collection need to do? Python offers 4 primary collections: lists for ordered sequences, dictionaries for labeled records, tuples for fixed, immutable data, and sets for unique, unordered collections. A list is an ordered queue. You use square brackets and can add, remove, or reorder items. Remember, Python lists are 0-indexed, meaning the first item is at position 0. Dictionaries map keys to values, acting like a form with named fields. This is arguably the most important collection for data science tasks. Tuples act like a sealed envelope. They look like lists, but use parentheses and are immutable. Once created, they cannot be changed, which makes them perfect for fixed data, like coordinates. Sets are used for unique members where order doesn't matter. They are the ideal tool for removing duplicates and checking for membership in a collection. Choosing the right collection is a skill that improves with practice. When in doubt, start with a list and move to a dictionary whenever your data needs descriptive labels. Understanding mutability is key. Lists and dictionaries are mutable, meaning they can flex and change. Tuples are immutable and frozen, acting as a signal that the data is intentional. Here is the big reveal for your data journey. A list of dictionaries is fundamentally a dataset. A single dictionary represents one record. When you group these dictionaries into a list, you have created a structure that mirrors a database table, with keys acting as column headers. This pattern is the foundation for tools like Pandas. By mastering lists and dictionaries, you are learning the underlying structure of all professional data science work. Now it's time for part 4, a mini exercise to apply these concepts to your own data problem. Reflect on the problem you framed in our first episode. Select one record, choose 3 distinct fields as keys, and define them in a dictionary. To help you visualize this, notice how fitness data follows the same structural pattern as customer data. The domain changes, but the logic remains consistent. Now let's pause and build. Open your notebook and create a dictionary for one record from your problem. Ensure you have at least 3 fields using different data types. Once it runs and the types look correct, come back. It is time for your hands-on assignment. You'll take that single record and extend it into a small data set. This process turns your real-world problem into actionable Python code. First, build 3 to 5 records using your problem domain. Next, collect those dictionaries into a single list variable. Finally, save your notebook as hello-data.ipynb, as we will need this for the next episode. Here is what a finished dataset looks like. You can see the list of dictionaries, where each entry represents a record, and you can easily access specific fields or check the length of your dataset. That is the end of the technical content for this episode. Let's move into a quick recap of what we have achieved. We have covered 3 big takeaways. Choosing structure is essential data thinking. Errors are your friends for learning. And a list of dictionaries is the foundational building block for all your future data work. Today, you successfully covered atomic types, variables, how to handle type errors, the 4 main Python collections, and how to create your very own dataset. Here is a quick reference for the terms we defined: variables, types, and the 4 collection types: list, dict, tuple, and set. Keep this handy. Everything you built today connects to our upcoming lessons. In the next few episodes, we will move from storing data to manipulating it with control flow and functions, leading up to your final project. In the next episode, we will focus on control flow. Make sure your notebook is saved, and you'll be ready to start filtering and processing your data immediately. See you there.